Boo. Good morning, everyone. By the way, it's Monday. Who likes Mondays? If you do, it's probably only because there's a weird show on Monday morning. So, hello, everybody. We have a Midnight Raven popping up first in the chat. Then we have ourselves a TA. Hello. Today we will blow up your planet. Something like that. No, I think today we're going to play a game. And what kind of game? Well, we have so many on this channel anymore, don't I? I think we're going to go back to the Great Debate. Day off hoot. Yep, everybody's got the day off. Well, not everybody, but everybody I know has the day off, which gets kind of aggravating with too many people around. I'm so used to being on my own. But shit happens. So let me see if I remember how to run this show, because it takes more effort than the rest of them to run this one. Mostly because of the extra complications I have created for myself on the Great Debate that I'm working on uncreating and making easier, but I don't know if I can. So the board? Maybe? Will it work?
Welcome to the Great Debate.
Alright, we have ourselves a board, and it works, and it has sounds. I like the sounds. It's gotta have some music, some noise. Ow! Just make sure you're all listening today. Make sure you're not feeling any unnecessary pain from showing up. What are we gonna do, guys? On today's show... Wait, what is today's show? Oh, we have 18 topics today. On today's show, we have 18 topics. Underneath each of these topics, there is a question or a statement having to do something along the lines of that topic, and we will discuss it for 400 seconds, because I haven't fixed it yet. I'll have to get on that. Hello, Hunley, and welcome to the chat. And your death. Fascinating, isn't it? It is. It's absolutely fascinating. I need to use some more of these, bells and whistles here. That's not a bell or a whistle. Alright, we'll have to get some bells and whistles. Pardon. A little phlegm still. It's awfully humid and gonna get worse today, apparently. I don't like the sounds of a humid day. Well, to all the lurkers in the chat and those participating, we need ourselves a new topic to discuss. Let us start the day off with, well, do we have any requests yet from the chat other than not deafening them with screaming and screeching? Hey, I have screeching. Nope, no smash. No smash. I need a smash sound. I need a smash sound. What are we going to talk about, to guy? Uh-oh. Start drinking early. I'm already screwing up how to talk. Raven says we need to talk about sex. We'll get right on that, Raven. My wife's home today. If people are sexually attracted to a type, what does it matter if the non-ideal is shamed for unattractiveness? I could have worded this better. I could have worded this a lot better. Sex, sure. Ouch, my ears. Sorry, Tribal Lyra. Nice to see you. Hope you enjoy the show. I'm going to have to work on the volume of some of those sound effects. I like some of my sound effects, but a few of them are loud. Here's a problem I have lately, and we all sort of see this. I know Cosmopolitan apparently released a new cover with... What's her name, Fatty, on the cover? I'm sorry. If you're overweight, then... I don't mean to offend you, but let's kind of put it in this perspective. I do read a lot of articles that pertain to little facts and tidbits about sexuality and people and enticement, because it's interesting sometimes to see what there is out there, what people have learned that I don't know, especially for sex. Why not? You know, enjoy it the best you can, really, the best you can. I'm noticing that we're starting to see people shamed for being, as of like the last couple years, shamed for being cisgender heterosexual people, or shamed for being thin or attractive or maintaining themselves, as opposed to shaming them for letting themselves go, looking like shit, not being attractive. Now, I don't know if I so much want to call it a shaming, though. My personal standpoint is the more weight a woman has, or the harder it would be to see me lift them up and put them on me, that makes it less attractive. Long hair, yes, Raven, is attractive to me. A woman with short hair is therefore not attractive and looks butchy or dykey. So, is it so much that we're shaming people that don't hold to these ideals, or that so many people are after some sort of semi-specific ideal that those who don't fall into that category are being not shamed but set aside and feel shamed? Which you kind of should. It's a social shaming of Tess Holiday. Yeah, that's the girl on the cover. You know who I'm talking about. Doing shaming is a dickwad. Now, I don't shame people. If you're not attractive, you're not attractive. I'm not going to give you my attention. If you are attractive, I'm going to give you attention. This works well for some people on the internet that use their attractiveness as a commodity. I don't think I have that. My breasts are rather firm and close to my chest, and other things that won't get me viewers because of how I look. So does this count as shaming? And I don't like Tess Holiday, partly because of what she pushes, partly like all of the overweight part is the big part. Like, as far as she is over what generically would be accepted is the part I can't handle. Women, don't mean to be derogatory, I mean, should weigh 150 to 190 pounds at most. Pregnant woman, maybe a little over 200, because babies take up, 2 to 3 times their own weight. Bony is buff. I don't like bony either. I mean, I don't want to see your ribs, because then I think I might break them. Because I break things. And if I can bend and break steel, then your ribs showing means I could bend or break them, and I don't want to do that. A person should have some standard to work to when it comes to their body and beauty. Yeah, so don't get me wrong. Men don't want, most men, some men are into playing squash. Most men don't want a woman who, when they get on top of them, makes it feel like they're being crushed. They also don't want a woman who they feel like is a piece of paper and they're going to tear easily, and then you feel over aggressive without actually being aggressive. You look for somebody that falls within your ideal, and a lot of people hold roughly the same ideals when you look into it. Bony as in me. Actually, I've gotten that complaint a lot. My bones, I'm bony. You can't see my ribs, but if you push up against me, you're either going to hit hard muscle or hard bone. And those are your options. IEU is buff. I'm average. I'm exactly what I should be for my weight and size. I'm healthy, I guess is what the appropriate means would be. Yeah, I'm kind of bony because there's no fat where my bones are to make it soft. So there's that. Would that make me ideal to be attractive? Possibly. So then shouldn't I be shamed if I were 400 pounds? Shouldn't I be shamed if I don't wash my hair and it's all greasy? Shouldn't I be shamed if I go to work with dirt on my face? This all seems the same to me. If you're unwilling to take care of yourself and manage yourself and be within reason of what is socially accepted by people, then it's not so much shaming as it is social confirmation, social conforming, or attempted social conforming. I'm not sure exactly how to put that. It's not fat shaming, because you can go out there at 450, 500 pounds, whatever Tess Holiday is these days. You can put on your bikini, but you best believe there's no man that's going to go within 500 feet of you on the beach unless he plays squash. Hi, by the way. Hello, and welcome, Saki, Eric, Patrice. How are you all doing? It's not shaming. I prefer a certain type of look to a woman. And that look draws my appeal almost subconsciously. It's like, ooh, look at that. And then try to look away because you don't want to be caught staring at such beautiful, round little asses. I mean, moving on. Where's my timer? It's not fat shaming. And this is a problem I have with the way people are doing this. It's you're shaming people for how bad they are or what they look like or what they've done to themselves. Well, it's not so much shaming as it is social unacceptability. You're not being not looked at because we're ashamed of you being a part of the population. You're not being looked at because you're not attractive enough to draw attention, which also goes back to a separate argument over, purposely being attractive and saying you're not drawing attention or trying not to get attention. Why do women put makeup on other than to attract? It's like, why would you turn a neon sign that says open on if you're not going to open your business? So that's just my opinion. That's a whole nother conversation or not. People are shit. Do what's right for you. Anyone saying otherwise is trying to bring you down to their level. Fair enough. I'm okay. If you want to be that guy that has to have his bed picked up by a forklift, pulled out, put into a dump truck, rolled across the dump scales, and then taken to the hospital for surgery, you be that guy. I don't think there's many women that want to be with that guy. Just letting you know. Just putting that out there. But we need another topic. Ryder seems to join right in time as my first timer ends. And I think I did it almost on time. Almost. What should we discuss next? We have so many more topics. There are 17 remaining on today's board. Are we going to have a question? Are we going to have a talking point? Conversationalism? Are we going to discuss something right or wrong with the world and how we feel about it? Maybe. Maybe we will. Maybe it'll be in government because government was chosen. 300 pounds will disable you, then kill you. Sorry, don't want that, and I refuse to be shamed for not wanting it. Exactly! If I don't like you, if my dick doesn't get hard because you look that good, I'm not attracted to you. I'm moving to the next person. Oh, look, she makes my dick hard. She looks good. That was quite blunt, but very inappropriate. Something. Should the government size be based on population or necessity? What have I done? This is a repeat, but we'll take this. I'll apply this to a few other sections too, because some recent events, obviously, that happen in some people's lives always make you reconsider facts. Taxes. Taxes are a bitch. And I'm not talking about your tax return in the beginning of the year. I'm talking, hey, it's the end of the year. We realize everything's about to get tight, but I'm in a school tax state that taxes pretty high on school taxes. I just got those in with a lot of digits on there that I didn't want to see. So when you look at the government size and you think about what you pay on taxes and try to, here's how I do it. Let's say I live in a town that has 100,000 homes. Seems a little high, might be, probably is. But let's say I'm in a town with 100,000 homes. And those homes average down to, let's say, $50,000. And you're taxing people roughly $1,000 or a 50th of the value of their home. Where's all that money going? $100,000 or 100,000 homes times $1,000, roughly 50. So you're looking at roughly $100,000. Where does that money go? Well, $100,000, when you think about it, really doesn't go that far. And a complaint I have with our current financial economic system is when somebody gets a pay raise, you don't realize that by increasing the amount of money you receive, you exponentially increase the amount of outgoing money that you're paying. So if you go from $10 to $15 and it costs you $14 to live, that's why you needed the $15. Now it's going to cost you like $20 to live because that $15 also has to cover more people, which floats down to you, and you end up paying higher rates for things. I can explain that better later. It goes on cocaine and hookers, I guess. It must. Because I balanced out what I'm paying for these taxes, and I'm trying to think to myself, if I pay these taxes and everybody pays their taxes, and these teachers also get money from, I don't know, some states do the lottery program, some states do government subsidy programs, some states have federal programs to help with schools that's divvied up by the population of the schools in that area. There's all sorts of programs and things, but what am I getting as a taxpayer? So as a parent with children in school, I'm paying taxes that gets them the people to be in the school to teach my children. So I receive a large tax bill, which we'll say right now for my one home comes to about $1,000 per kid. And then as soon as they go to school, I get a list of $100 worth of necessities they need that isn't funded by the $1,000 I pay for school taxes. But they have paper and books and all of those things, which I have to also buy. But wait, you're switching over to computers. Why do I have to buy notebooks? Why do I have to pay you $8 for an agenda that you already bought with tax money? This is the government gets so big that those at the top, $100,000 seems like a lot. 110, 115, I think, is what an administrator at some school districts in my area make. $115,000 a year. So yeah, I can understand why my taxes are so high. They're paying for the people that are running the things that I'm paying for, not so much the people that are doing it. You could hire 3 teachers at the salary teachers make for what an administrator makes. So should it be decided based on population? What the fuck is Labor Day? Labor means work. I think Labor Day is those who served it's to represent those who served our country. Veterans Day is to represent those who died. Labor Day is to represent those who served. And 4th of July is obviously to represent our freedom. So on Labor Day, those who worked hard, people don't have to work. Kind of backwards. It is a holiday, says Eric. Government size should be based on population. If your population of an area is so small, tell me why you have to have an administrator for every 20 teachers, for every 30 teachers. How does that break down? The school districts also, I'm in a state or in an area where school districts are, if you look at a map, they almost feel like they're overlapping. And as I grew up knowing district boundaries, when you drive from district to district, you almost drive through little slivers of other school districts because they're right on top of each other. This causes problems because now instead of having 1 or 2 administrators for this large area, you have several administrators for each of these small areas and then an administrator that runs all of these areas together. So now the government just got bigger. So back to the point of this, because I'm on a tangent. Should the government size be based on the population or necessity? It absolutely should. And the way this should break down is in school, representation of students should be based on what an economical class size should be. So between 20 and 30 students. To be economical in a current day and age, you want about 30 students per class. So you need 1 teacher for every 30 students. So why are we not just paying for teachers? We're paying for anything they need as well as the building and the utilities that are run to that building. So you have more teachers and more classrooms, you need a bigger building. This makes sense when you scale it to size. However, governments don't hold things scaled to size of the community. They plan for community enlargement, which is smart, but at the same time is highly more costly because then you end up with classrooms with 5 and 10 students that are making the same amount as the classrooms with 30, 35 students. This doesn't help you budget out. And then on top of that, you have a whole bunch of other stuff to add in there, but my time is up. I think a representative size versus population government would be easily attributable because you'd be able to hire and include based on the population, and you terminate based on reduced population. So if an area was working well and your population was climbing, you could hire more people from the population to serve governmental positions. We don't operate like this. So even as government areas or communities leave those geographic areas, public officials are still there making this money. Taxes are required to go up to fund this money to be paid. And this causes problems. Quality of government should be more issue than quantity. Here's a weird question. If approximately 1/5 of the United States, which is a study from, I want to say, 2005, approximately 1/5 of the United States in some way, shape, or form works for the U.S. government, who pays for that? So think, if 1/5 of the population works for the U.S. government, let's dilute that, meaning all financial transactions within the country are 1/5 the U.S. government. Do you pay about 1/5 of your income to the U.S. government? That sounds a little bit low. Honestly, I think the U.S. government comes closer to what used to be known as extortion at somewhere around 25% when you accumulate all of the government taking your money. A study from 2015 or 2014 said something about between taxes, governmental fees, and everything, a homeowner with a job will spend roughly 40% of their income a year paying the government. Well, whether it be sales tax, income tax, property tax, school tax, 40 some odd percent of your income will go to taxes, period, or more. So that's just too much. And I'm going to look into this some more, especially with my tax bills on my desk here. Not looking forward to this. We live in a town. Where we live, a townhouse in middle-class neighborhood, poverty taxes on that townhouse are $3,500 a year. What's poverty taxes? That's one I'm not familiar with. Trump tweeted at 4:20, so I'd imagine that was up at 6. On my phone, and your name looks like a sparkler. Ooh, my name looks like a sparkler? Cool. I'll have to work on that. Maybe I can make my name explode periodically through the show. I'm testing things. We'll work on it. We need another topic, guys. Who wants to pick the next one? Property's not a topic. What are we doing? Next trolley name ever. Can't even quote the fucker. Hella wanna played secret president salute you. Hippity hoppity. I was the sparkle in the question. Oh, you were the sparkle. Okay, he's my sparkle. I'm going to put his name over my name. It'll look better when I'm done. Virtual reality, says Hunley, wanting to get past the small talk. Would more immersive games and environments cause long-term side effects by the user? This one I like. Often we talk about situations where virtual reality can either improve on or disimprove on a person's environment. And you can date online, you can have virtual sex online, which doesn't sound all that appealing. You might as well just watch a video and play with yourself. You can have school online, all sorts of things. And we've relayed this into virtual reality. So let's say we immerse ourselves in a virtual reality environment. And at some point in the day, you have to come out of that environment and go to IRL. And let's call it a work environment. So let's say you're scheduled to work 8 hours in your VR environment. It's time for a break. You've spent 2 hours in here interacting in this world that's different than what you're used to. Yeah, it takes some adapting, but you get used to it. When you come out of that world, and I've correlated this with playing video games as well, when you come out of the world, will your reactions or the way you think or plan things change in real life based on being in a virtual reality environment? Maybe it could cause side effects. Side effects. I like that. Here's a weird thought I have, and we saw this in an episode of Star Trek. I failed to remember which one. I remember one with Berkeley, where Berkeley used the hologram chamber to create a larger ability to store information in his brain. Let's say we use virtual reality, not necessarily in that way, but we use it in a way to tamper with or mess with scientific experiments, or to trial and error what different effects things would have on people. And then you step out of this world and somehow those effects don't match. So you're in a VR working and you get a paper cut, but you don't get a paper cut. or you bump into something but you don't get a bruise. And then you get out and you think your brain sort of adapts to that notion that bumping your head isn't going to hurt because it didn't in VR. And then all of a sudden you bump your head in real life, and that bump feels exponentially more painful because your brain wasn't welcome to it. Or you don't feel that bump because your brain isn't attributing it as something that actually happened, and therefore your body feels it, but your brain doesn't acknowledge it. This would be a side effect. This is something weird I was thinking about after a couple of the last topics in VR. If we get accustomed to that type of environment and you leave that environment, the outcome of certain things changes in real life versus a different environment. Apply this to prison. If you're violent with somebody in prison, it might necessarily not go anywhere because nobody's going to rat on anybody else. But you get in the real world and you get violent with somebody, they call the cops come over on you and they start beating down on you. You develop a thought process based on the environment you're in. A VR environment would develop a thought process whether you realize it or not, and then removing yourself from that environment for shorter periods of time than you're in it will cause you to start to think that's the real environment. As you move into the real environment from your VR, how will that change the way you react and the way you're affected by things around you? I want to try drunk VR, see if it's as much fun drunk as in real life. That sounds fun. That actually does. For people who were slowly mentally deteriorating somehow, early onset dementia, etc., this could cause serious issues. It could. Again, if you put somebody from early onset dementia into a VR world and they can live in that world to help successfully relieve their dementia, when they have to remove themselves from the world, which will inevitably come using the bathroom or something else depending on the world, what will be the effects from removing them? I see VR as potentially a good healthcare system for those who have dementia or mental instabilities, because they can run through things repeatedly or be put in scenarios where their mind understands what's going on. You can match up a VR scenario to what their mind is processing and help them to process through things and work through that disability. But then what happens when they come out? Does it make it harder to work through the disability when they don't have the assistance? Do they have more problems with adapting to real life once they have been adapted to the situation their brain is in? The spoon isn't real. No, it's not. Bend it with your mind. If the spoon is not real, then how did I stir my coffee? I used a knife. What else did I miss in here? Your mind makes it real, aka the Matrix. Same way people escape the internet, just more immersive. But this is what I'm saying. And to me, it goes back to mental disorders, or mentally acknowledging something. Whether you realize it or not, your brain acknowledges the things that happen to you. You get bit by a bug, your brain feels an itch. You bump your head, your brain feels pain. If you accustom your brain to a VR world, that VR world is not going to be able to accommodate for everything that the real world will do. So the difference is, will your brain adapt to the differences between IRL and virtual reality? And then if you put yourself in virtual reality for long enough times, will your brain believe that the virtual reality might be the real environment and therefore not work like it should in real life? Will it not acknowledge pain receptors because it believes they're lying to you because you've been in VR so long and didn't feel pain? Or, on the other hand, this goes to the argument, what if you get into a VR that seems so real and you get shot? You think you're shot, your mind thinks you're shot, you see blood. Ooh, I had a glitch. I heard a glitch. The Matrix is listening to me. You see blood, don't realize that you're not actually hit because you believe it's so real, and you suffer a heart attack or some sort of mentally attributed bodily harm due to your brain thinking that's the situation you're in. This works in both ways. It's a really weird conversation to have, though. We was kings. I have some. Oh, no. Or controversy. A bruise or a cut only hurts once you've noticed it. See, and that's a weird thing you should say, is I've cut and injured myself and not realized it. I put a chainsaw into my foot and didn't realize that I'd cut through my foot until I saw blood, and then looked down and saw my foot bleeding and realized it was pounding. So I do acknowledge that. Would VR make that worse? Would VR not showing us what we've done, or not having that visual outcome for the instance that we were just in, would that make our mind believe that nothing's happening or not think to look? The weird instances. The mind works funny on you. I hope everybody knows that, whether you realize it or not. Ouch. I see an F. Bubonic, if you got an F, just refresh if you hear me. I'm sorry. And Ryder says TV or movies. He would like one of the two. Who would like to help pick? TA is getting some more coffee. The spoon is not real, and URL keeps bending my fork, and Sadiq won't let me have a knife. How do I eat? Fingers and toes. Be industrious. TV, says Ryder. TV, says Ryder. Because television we all watch not too much of. Will television be beamed into your brain one day? I can't do the Doctor Who tone. In one of the episodes, there was a microchip implanted into brains where people were allowed to decipher and disseminate television. And you could also have chosen to have a chip that just allowed you to receive all of this information. So, let's go on this standard. Let's say we understand, and don't get me wrong, we kind of are beaming, if you think about it, television into people's brains right now. So, what is it? What more would it be? What would change if we could beam television programming into somebody's head? And then would that become an issue? Or should we leave that on the side? Yes, next subject. You think it'll be beamed into your head? I have a problem with this. I don't think we'll get there. I think it's a technological avenue that will be explored. I don't think that will be actually used. Here's problems I see with it. We all understand that just me streaming here to what my computer says is about 15 people for about 1 hour, that I'm going to use up gigs of data. And that gigs of data and transfer and processing can be counted and established. But in the human brain, every time we look, different people process things different way, and things are stored by neural synapses that are used well enough to grow and distinguish between other. Going into too many topics and losing my train of thought. Your brain develops and acknowledges things because your neural synapses build around the multiple shooting of electrodes through these synapses from environmental effects that you go through. So if you wanted to beam television into someone's brain, how much storage space would you need? Where in the brain would it go? If you added a microchip, how would it tie in? How would your brain understand this as information separate from memory as opposed to visual stimulation that you've had? Right now, your brain can decipher between television and between real life because you understand you're watching television on a screen. Again, is a small percentage of the population that probably obviously believes television is real even if they're watching the Hulk. It's not. Get over it. If it gets beamed into your brain, would your brain not try to detect that as a memory as opposed to an instance of something you encountered? Giggity giggity. That's right. Baseball question. Also, yes. Didn't metal teeth fillings pick up radio frequencies? If you watch Stephen King, I thought it was those big, gigantic braces headsets that did that. The ones that wired around the back of your head and then into your teeth and routed into your fillings and yeah. There was a Stephen King video on that. This can be done through waveform frequency manipulation. Its human brain can only actively register and cognitively process up to 36 frames per second. That's good to know, because I stream at 30 frames a second, or 29.97. No, right now I'm at 24.98. Nope, 27.97. Nope, it's changing. 28.97. Okay, not looking at that anymore. Fook. Skullbot sucks. Skullbot's going to be reprogrammed very soon. Very, very soon. Skullbot and I have been button bots. Something. So, do I believe it could be? Yes. I believe we could reach a point where somebody could get television information implanted into their head. I don't believe that we'll go that route, because I think what'll happen is shows that'll be beamed into somebody's head will start to become like memories to a person, and your brain's going to try to process that memory in the way it knows. And you implant a scenario, a fictional scenario, into your brain, and your brain's going to try to believe, because it was implanted, because it was put there, that that scenario wasn't necessarily fiction, but could have been non-fiction, could have been something that you encountered that it has decided how to process and react to. So if you beam a show into your brain, it could directly affect the way that you look at reality by creating a memory that forces your brain to react to an outcome. This would cause problems. It'll probably be used by the military. If it's out there, wouldn't that work? If you could beam coercion programming or thought processing or learning into somebody's head, that would be used. Guaranteed. Would it be right to use it? No, probably not. Will this happen? Yes. Probably not in the way that we're currently thinking about it. I'm thinking, oh, a light beam or a radio beam, but it wouldn't even take that. It would basically take matching the frequency to the vibrations of the electrodes through your synapses in your brain. If different synapses in your brain vibrate at different frequencies, then you match the frequency for the area of your brain you want to implant the idea into, and you broadcast the idea at that frequency into the brain. And the brain would then process it as intake information, like you just experienced something. I believe it will cause problems. I actually see humanity looking at this as a way to resolve things that will not work. Will we develop the tech, but the service of streaming shows directly to said tech won't? Honestly, I don't think that'll be an issue. I think the only way to make this work would be implanting some sort of chip that allowed the brain to decipher implanted information versus recognized information. That'll be the hard part. I don't think you need a chip to implant an idea into somebody's mind using frequency or specific sound waves, because this is stuff that's being studied that we've looked at. Can this be done through waveform frequency manipulation, i.e. the human brain can only actively register and cognitively process up to 36 frames per second? Yes. See, Bubonic is agreeing. This can be done. On the next show, I will be transmitting you at 1.21 gigawatts. No. Oh, look, our time's up. We need another topic, guys. You're up. You're up, and who in the audience is going to take the bat and swing at one of these topics? Swing, bada, 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 swing. What do we have? 4 done. I think we'll nail one more of these today. We might even get 2. Eric wants to talk about the internet. Ooh, this was a good question I typed in this morning. I had to walk away because I couldn't think of something for the internet this morning. I spend 18 or 20 hours a day on the internet most days, and I couldn't think about something for the internet. What does one hope to gain by being active on the internet? Well, I will put it this way. I think one thing people specifically attempt to gain by being on the internet is performative social interaction. You can quantify the amount of interaction you have and how it was to you, and understand what you're looking for and go looking for that type of interaction. Me, for instance, I enjoy having fun interacting. I enjoy finding fun ways to look for facts, finding new ways to find new facts I've never heard of. So my way of encountering the internet is a way of how do I root into, and when I say root, I mean growing roots, learning and absorbing things from different parts of the internet. Where do I have to root into to learn something I didn't know, and what will I learn, and what will that lead me to next? Who will I talk to that'll tell me something, thank you data, that I've never encountered before, or something I've never heard, or reaction, perspective, an analysis of something that I can go through and relate to things that I've already encountered. How do I do this? This is what I get out of the internet. Obviously, some people don't have shows. They don't have an innate need to learn things they don't know just to be exposed to more information. Some people just want to be on here to go, haha, you're a fat loser. That was fun. I'm going to do that again. Haha, you're a short loser. Oh, that was fun. I can do this all day. That's the goal for some people. So I say, what do you hope to gain by being active on the internet is an individual question. Some people just want to ignore real life and finally go, okay, look, I've got this place. This place is, quote unquote, not real. I can explore any avenue I want, turn it off when I'm done, and walk away. It won't affect me in real life. Kind of true. Not entirely anymore, since real life is stretched into the internet and it's no longer a separate fake entity anymore. Brain damage. That's right. Oh, look. Data showed up because I said his name. Hi, Data. Nice to see you in there. It really is. So what does one hope to gain from the internet? Knowledge. Most people, I hope, intend to use the internet to glean a little bit of information, to learn something they didn't know, to communicate where they couldn't. Some people reach to the internet for free resources for communication, which is obviously understandable, but what do you communicate? Are you disseminating or collecting information? I wonder if sometimes people aren't using the internet necessarily as a social tool for themselves to find people that they can more easily relate with on the same moral plane. Whether or not you agree with those who are around you on the internet, you can find many more people who do agree with you. So does the internet offer, what's the word, like a platitude, a comfort for somewhere to be, somewhere to escape to? Why does it look like my Yahoo chat is so far behind? Watch my language. Okay, for real, social connection, informative services, and the internet. Yeah, my Yahoo chat is all messed up. It is 4 minutes behind. No wonder why I'm reading the same comments twice. That one's broken. Let's rely on the Streamlabs chatbot chat here and see what you guys are saying. Someone bullied NumbedSkull. Nope, nobody bought my deep freeze. It's still sitting there. Educational cat porn. How do you educate yourself with cat porn on the internet? And yeah, I don't want to know. Don't answer that question. Trolling cat porn videos. Ethical cat doxing. Wait, why are we talking about cats? Is everybody into pussy today? I'm okay with that. NumbedSkull, watch your language. I don't know what I'm watching. I can't see the words that I say. They don't appear on the screen when I talk. Tahoe sucks. Tahoe? Find people with better cat porn and hack and steal. Is the internet there for information at all? Tribal leader. LOL. Cat juggling? Cats juggle? It's an awesome musical. What's a musical? The internet is run by cats. I think the stock market is run by cats because it keeps going up. They got their paw on that arrow. What does one hope to gain? I think it's more the way the internet came about and the way people are on the internet. I want to say it was more of a draw of, well, this is a place where you can get information and connect to people. And everybody got onto that, I can connect to people. We all know those in our life who we've met, interacted with, and at some point they've done something or said something stupid, or you heard they did something and you're like, I don't know how I feel about that, or hanging out with that friend, or continuing on the path that we're continuing on with them, and it makes you rethink your decisions. When you do something with somebody in real life, trying to tell them to their face can sometimes make you feel like an asshole. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just treat people like I'm an asshole. And let's use breaking up with someone. You break up with someone, you feel terrible sometimes, or you feel gratified for having done it. Well, if you can just have communicated remotely on the internet, would that have made it easier? If you didn't have to do it face to face, if you didn't need that personal communication level. And the internet brought that in. It allowed you to create and eliminate friends, which I can say I've had to do a couple times, based on your interactions with them. And your social ability grew because you can now reach to more people who you might connect with. However, you also have to be able to disconnect with them too, if that makes sense. I gotta close this Yahoo chat. I keep trying to read it and it is way behind. So we're just gonna close that. We'll refresh this and we'll close that and we'll see what happens. A catastrophe. Trosphere. Okay. Eliminate friends. Sounds like I'm out of a job. No. It's one of those things where you ever get into an argument with a good friend and it comes down to a point where you have to find a way to resolve it and move through it. One of those friends might say, for instance, oh, one of my buddies owes me a bit of money. Till that point where I helped him with money, we didn't have a problem with our relationship. And I'm not going to loan money to people on the internet, so that counts that out. We can't overcome that because he doesn't believe he should be responsible for things, and I believe people are responsible for what they do. But this is something that took us 13 or 14 years of being friends before we encountered. And on the internet, it would have been easier to say, you know what, fuck you, to hell with you, and leave. But as a friend, or as somebody who was friends in real life, it's really hard to cut the ties when that tie isn't just you having been friends. It's that friend knows this person hangs out with them, and you're going to see them on a regular basis, so on and so forth, interactions, blah, blah, blah. Friends. You hit a point where in your life you realize that developing friends is not that important because it just causes more problems. I don't mind internet friends, my internet friends, because, at some point my internet's going to get turned off or I'm going to walk away from it, and they're more acknowledged acquaintances, those who I've met and interacted with, which I acknowledge as a learning experience and a growth experience and a way to develop more information. But in the end, and this should go for everybody, I don't mean this in a negative or harsh way, but at no time should anything anybody does be set out to help somebody else. Anything you do, decisions you make, and outcomes in your life are designed to help you. Even if you have kids, you raise those kids to do the best you can based on your perspective. If the kids had to raise themselves, they wouldn't probably be raised the way you ideally would like them raised. If they were raised by somebody else, they wouldn't ideally be raised the way you would like them raised. Ideally, you're out for yourself. Why did you have the kid? Well, I wanted to have sex. I wanted to get my rocks off. Okay, that was for you. I wanted to have a kid. I wanted to raise a kid. That was for you. I wanted to make sure they went to college. That's for you. Everything you do in your life, decisions you make, they're not meant to be for other people. They're meant to be for you. The things you do, the outcomes, it's all relative to how you are. So remember that when you make decisions, that leaving a friend isn't leaving a friend because of something they did. It's how you react to that. What you do and don't do isn't because of outside circumstances. It's how you react to those outside circumstances. And I have to keep this in perspective myself sometimes, but it is the truth. It is all about you. Your life is about you, your decisions, your questions, the contemplations, the ideas, the anything that comes about is all about you and your perspective and how you see things. Rambling. What does that mean? Let the cats raise them. Yeah, let the cats raise the kids. I'd love to see my kid climb a tree with long, sharp, pointy nails. All for me. Sweet. I'm going back to bed. Enjoy. Wow, so deep. I try. Not really. It's inadvertent, but I hope you enjoy it. We should have time for one more topic. I think I think you guys can pick one more topic for me. I think there's a little bit of I don't even know what word I'm looking for right now. I'm losing my ability to think, and Adam says movies and saves me from the necessity of thinking about anything else. Should a person idealize an aspect of a film and contour their life to emulate for a perceived goal? Ooh, talk about deep. I'll read that again. We'll see if I can read it more legibly. Should a person idealize an aspect of a film and contour their life to emulate a perceived goal? This kind of goes back to sort of the VR thing. Everything always connects with me because I'm always thinking about stuff and interrelating it across topics. Let's say you have a relationship and you want to get the best out of your relationship. It could be a marriage, it could be dating, however, it doesn't matter. Let's say you don't have a relationship and you watch a bunch of romance movies or read a bunch of romance novels, but we'll say movies right now because they idealize specific aspects of relationship, how to get them, things like that. You watch 700 movies and you realize that this is the main way that people get girls in the movies. And then you try to adapt your life to be this type of person from the movie to get the girl. Is this the right thing to do? Is it right to take fictional entertainment, relate yourself to it because it has some relation to real world activities, and try to move forward taking what you learned from a movie to apply to your life? This is weird because we see a lot of this in real life. Hold on. Guzzling it down so I can talk to you guys. What's a good one? Let me think back. What's a good one? Notting Hill. Notting Hill's a good romance story. I like Julia Roberts. I wouldn't mind a little Julia Roberts. Let's say we take that story into account with the bookstore, and the girl comes in the bookstore and you chase her down. And what are your chances as a real person who's not a superstar and doesn't have money and maybe owns a small business to get a movie star? What are your chances? Probably slim. A movie like this obviously develops a false ability. You get given information that would work, but it works relative to the situation that it's in. And if you try to apply this situation to your life, it may not necessarily work. Puppet Master was hilarious. Yeah. Are we talking the old one with the things on the back of their neck? They had that little thing that went up and into the back of the brain. They couldn't rip it out. It was like a weird spider with a long tail that went in your brain. Or is it 2048? I'm lost. Blade Runner 2049, just trying to kill the dem rebel replicants is all, and gotta get a robo hooker. I haven't watched that yet. It sounds interesting. But I just shut off my Netflix, so I'm not gonna watch it yet either. If you apply scenarios, situations, thinking from a movie, and try to apply it to real life, is it going to work? Probably not. Probably not. If I see 20 movies about someone successfully robbing a bank, does that decrease the probability I'm going to get shot robbing a bank? Does that increase the ability of robbing the bank? If I watch Iron Man build a metal suit, and I build a metal suit, does that mean my suit's going to work? You can't necessarily apply process or thinking from a movie to real life and expect it to work for you. And the reason I tried to use romance as an ideal goal is, what boy didn't once in a while watch the videos where the guy saves the day, turns around and says that one-liner to the girl, grabs her and pulls her in and gives her a kiss? What guy hasn't seen those movies and looked to go, oh, I'm going to be the tough rebel guy? That doesn't always work because you're pushing something. Whoa, one. We'll start with you're pushing or you're trying to create yourself to something you're not. And when you're more relaxed in a situation, it's easier to interact. If you're trying to build up to a certain environment, you're processing the environment, not the situation, and have a problem interacting on a situational level. Privileged white male. LOL. This is Sky King Logic. Dispatch. Do you even know how to handle this craft. Sky King, well, I've played a lot of video games, so yeah, I think I got this. Yeah, oh, that's perfect. Long live. That's actually a perfect analogy. Playing video games, if you play shooter games, can you walk out there and, you know, fight in an army? If you play flying games, do you think you can hop in an F-16 and, you know, pull off some tricks? I forget what the guy was flying. Star Trek fucked the world. I like Star Trek. Most of them. Not all of them. If you idealize an aspect of that film and you work your life to be something, is that a right thing? Is it something people should be doing? No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's right. I think it'll help you. I think that in order to use movies as perspective analysis, you have to look at the writing of the movie and understand situational awareness for inside the movie. So look at the scene and the scenario and try to establish by what grounds is being worked. What's the thinking process being used, not the outward appearance of what's happening. So when you watch a movie, usually your first watch through, you're seeing the movie for what the writers intended you to see. They wanted you to see the action. They wanted you to focus on the action and less on the romance. They pick out these pieces. They add music and literary scenes and things to make you react in a certain way, to make you think about this, to make you feel like you're part of this show. When you watch a movie the second, third, fourth, 20th, 50th time, you start to pick on weird little things that are in the movie that you might not have picked up on the first time. Unless you're slightly autistic, like, you know, some of us can be, and you pick up on stupid things that show up there that don't belong. But usually you pick up on the scenarios, and you try to pick up on the way people were applying the movie. You key into different details on future runs. If you try to idealize a movie or idealize a scene and move it into real life, you're not going to be able to always identify the processes that led to that scenario and work with them to make it work with real life. And that's where the problem, I think, comes in. You can't relate a plotted scenario against an evolving, unplannable scenario. You can expect the girl to say something, but if she doesn't say that, you don't have the retort because you didn't plan for it, as opposed to naturally just letting a conversation or interaction flow. Well, that's my output for today, guys. I've got 6 topics under, and done is full T autismo. So you pick up on the fact that shoelaces aren't tied in movies like me? It's always good to know. Or when they're stacking money, how there's 5 quarters in a stack instead of 4. It's dumb. It's dumb, but you pick up on stuff like that when you're looking. Midnight Raven says, good. Learning video production, editing, and whatnot ruins your movie experience. I can't watch anything anymore without immediately critiquing the production. I hate that, and it's so true. Since I started YouTube and I started posting this together, I'll watch other YouTube videos and you'll see that split-second scene cut that's not quite right, or an audio glitch, or a catch-over, or an audio tune. You see and hear that more the more you understand how it's done. My kids were watching, this is terrible. My kids were watching Power Rangers, and everybody who's seen Power Rangers and knows how to use video creation software looks at Power Rangers and goes, I can do that! That's all you got. Like, hey, you just record a bunch of stuff, bring it to me, and I'll put the fire between the layers. I can do that now. I know how to do that. I'll make you a Power Rangers episode. You just put on an outfit and go run around. I'll record it, and I'll put fires and blasters behind you and some weird lighting and effects, and we'll all be good. My kids will be Power Rangers. I like to watch the news and normies and tell them that OBS settings involved really takes the glamour out of it. It does. And when you know how things are put together, it takes a if you know how a trick is done, it's no longer a trick. It's just somebody else's entertainment. Or how a hubcap will fall off after a jump cut scene, brand new shiny hubcap. Yes! Because they recorded the second scene before the first one and didn't think about the hubcap. Enemy of the State has a 9/11 reference. A lot of places have 9/11 references, including before 9/11, which is the freaky part of it. Don't forget a large amount of cheese. I like cheese. I love cheese. Traumaville, a woeful underrated. Haven't seen it? Might have to check it out. I will get my orange Power Ranger mask. Orange? See, that's another thing. There's red, yellow, green, blue, pink, white, black. I don't see where orange comes in. I don't remember an Orange Ranger. But, folks, we have finished up an hour on this fine show, and I can't talk again. You may again see me on Wednesday night for a Shoot the Crap stream as I figure out how and what I'm putting together. I encourage all of you, as always, that on your way out, please make sure that you ever so fondly play with, caress, enjoy my buttons. And I will leave you on this note, folks. Always think things through. Remember that you can always sign off the internet. Once in a while you should. I say this after watching 20 some odd hours of YouTube a day, most days. Thank you so much, guys. Have yourselves a blast, and I will see you all in, well, for some of you, I'll see you in your streams. Later.